We're back again. I'm in much better state than I was last time. I actually know that I need to talk this time. Yeah?
Yep.
Right. April.
Hey.
It's me, Katie Devine. This time I've been a little bit inspired by a few other YouTubers, and what we're going to do is a sort of like the high school makeup challenge is the best way to put it, isn't it?
Yeah. This is like our embarrassing stage of our life.
Yeah, this is where we go back to that really embarrassing, awkward stage where the self-hatred was at a new peak and we had no clue what we were doing but watched loads of makeup videos but genuinely did not know what we were doing. And as now a qualified makeup artist, I hate my younger self for what I did to my face. And we're going to attempt to recreate that. We've managed to get like some of the products are the same as the ones we previously used, and then the rest of them we either could not find, couldn't get hold of, that sort of thing. So we just found the closest thing we could. Please do not judge us for our previous techniques, as I used my hands.
Yeah, I definitely use my hands.
Yep. And I had, yeah. So, let's get on with the video. Right, so we've both gone and found a photo of the closest thing we can find to what our everyday makeup was. Mine is like reasonably close, but it's not exactly how it was. But you can sort of get the rough idea. Now this is 14-year-old me, I believe. Ugh. Now, as you can see, I had no idea what eyebrows were. Nor did I have any clue how to match my foundation. And my eyes look squinty. And I'm genuinely ashamed of that.
Okay, so this is mine. This is the stage where I had very orange makeup and I love purple lipstick. And I was just a little dork in general. So
purple lip tangerine.
I was about 11. I just discovered makeup.
Damn, got into it early.
So things were pretty rough, but yeah.
Right. Well, that's sorted. So, neither of us had any idea that we needed to moisturise and prime before placing extremely cheap and cakey foundation and concealers onto our faces. So, I've actually managed to I have the original foundations that I used to use as my foundation and concealer, and they are the Graftobian. And they are the cream foundations in light olive, which is way too dark for me, and it's almost like you can kind of see it's literally orange. And that was what I used to use as my normal foundation. And then here I have the same foundation in the shade Alabaster, and I used to use that for my concealer slash highlight, but contour wasn't really a thing back then. I mean, anyone who contoured was sort of... You didn't really bother unless you were professional, did you? Because you just looked like orange. Plus, if people contoured, it was more with bronzer. No one ever used actual contour colours. I mean, I used a very little bit of contour, but I was so light-handed because I was terrified of looking overly carved out, and I didn't want to look like a skeleton. Yeah, it's a tough one, that one.
So I couldn't find the actual foundation I used to use. So I've just got Cool Vanilla in the number 7, beautifully matte. And for concealer, I've got Extra Lasting by Avon.
And luckily
it's the exact one I used to use.
Which I had no idea. Weird coincidence going through my collection to see what we could find. And we found the exact same one that she used to use. Is it the exact same shade?
Yeah, fair.
See, I find it has a massive tendency to oxidise.
Yeah.
So when I used it once and just put it in the drawer never to be touched again because it just turned orange.
I think the only time I actually ever used this was when I was really desperate and I had breakouts like the ones I have. Yep.
Okay. So for what would be next then? So powder. I would do next. So I bought a massive kit along with these Graftobian foundations that was special effects makeup, and it was the first sort of special effects stuff I bought, and in it came a loose powder that was just a translucent all-rounder use powder. So the closest thing I've got is this cheap Natural Collection loose powder, which is the only loose powder I have. So I've got to make do with that, and it's also shit.
So I used to use a really cheap nasty one, so I couldn't find that. So I've got Rimmel London Insta Fix and Matte. My favourite powdered foundation, thanks to you.
Next I would use... No, actually to be fair, next I wouldn't do what I'd normally do and contour and blush and highlight. I would do probably the worst thing ever and do my eyebrows. And
yes.
Yet again, you can sort of tell how restricted I was on products because I have still got the same eyeliner that I used to use to do my eyebrows, but I lost the cap and replaced it with this terrible looking clear one. And it's the Graftobian Dark Chocolate Eyeliner, and I used to use it to do my eyebrows because I thought that was a good idea. I had bleach blonde hair and used to do my eyebrows with this.
Brilliant.
What did you used to use?
I didn't really discover eyebrow pencils until maybe year 11.
But we're going to do it for the
sake of the video. And I used to use a black. Bearing in mind back then my hair was pretty light brown. So
instead of going lighter you went...
Instead of going lighter I went darker.
So we've done eyebrows. Next I would prime my eyelids. So I used to use a Makeup Revolution, and I believe they still do it but I haven't checked. And it's like an eye primer slash, it's like a mixing medium that you can put in with eyeshadows and glitters and things to make them a bit more malleable. But I don't have it anymore. So instead I've got the closest thing I can have, which is a Makeup Revolution eye primer, which is more just like a nude lippy colour thing instead of the clear drops that I used to use.
I didn't know that existed when I was darking makeup, so
You never touched primer?
No.
What would you do next after your eyebrows?
I do my eyeshadow.
You do your eyeshadow,
Yeah. So I used a brown, and it was either just one colour over my eyelid or a mixture of two, depending on how I felt. So this is Revolution. I always use Revolution. HD Pro Lux. Awesome.
This is just like a matte, all
Yeah.
matte brown palette that I have, and it just happens to be that some of the shades are just similar to ones that April used to use, and because we have no idea what she used to use.
Honestly, can't remember. It was about 3 or 4 years ago.
But as long as it's close,
We'll go with it.
there's no difference. Plus, I doubt you use anything too expensive, so it's probably still in the same price range as well. I mean, if you want to recreate this, I mean, if you,
I doubt you will,
if
but-
you want to recreate this, I'm impressed.
We're not judging you.
No judgment at all. I mean, you're not judging us, hopefully. So next I would go on to... I would normally leave my eye primer, weirdly enough. I never understood why I did it, but I would leave my eye primer to like sit and it would crease and it was not great. And instead of applying my eyeshadow when I should, while the eye primer was, you know, tacky and ready to be used, I would go on and do the rest of my skin. So I would contour, and this is not the same palette that I used to use, but it is the same palette, so to speak. This is like the second one I've had to buy now, and it's looking a bit beaten and abused. And it's the Makeup Revolution Ultra Contour Palette, and inside it's just got a few different shades, highlights, contours, things like that. There is like a shimmery highlight that I used to use, but I used to use it very, very lightly because people didn't really highlight then, certainly not girls in my year or at my school, and if I had highlighted the way I did now, people would seriously think I was weird. It would not have been accepted in any way. So I would use the most cool tone brown in the palette and just very lightly contour, and I did not use bronzer. That was it. That was where it stopped.
I didn't use contour. I look like a little potato.
Oh, little cutie patootie. Next I would use blush, and this is not the same blush that I used to use because I genuinely have no idea what blush I used to use and I can't remember, but this is a close shade and it's the Maybelline Colour Show Blossom in the shade. I have no idea because there's a sticker on the back, but I can show you if you want to buy this. I mean, it's not the best blush either, and there is a tiny amount of product in it. It really is like the brush took up more space than the product itself. But it was sort of like this duo coloured peachy to pink blush, and I just found it matched my skin tone a little bit better than a brighter pink would.
I used a very bright blush, and looking back now I want to punch myself in the face. The lid just broke.
It's fine, everything's broken.
So
Most of my
I
Makeup Revolution
used
colours are.
kind of this colour. It's not exactly the same, but it's close enough. And this is the Revolution.
I believe it's just a Makeup Revolution blush palette. I think I got it in a kit with another palette and some face brushes, so it's not got like a label on the back. But it's basically a humiliatingly bright, like, variety of colours of blush that no human being would use. Next, after my primer had been creasing to hell on my eyelids and I'd been wasting time doing my face, I then did my eyes, and I don't have the palette that I used to use, but I do remember what it was called, and it was the Makeup Revolution, I think it was the Day of the Dead palette, and it had sort of like 20 odd shimmery colours, and then on the bottom it had like 6 or 7 different matte colours, and it had some very fluorescent colours in it, and luckily I do have the exact same shade which like Makeup Revolution have put into like a singular form, and it's called Pink Is It, and it's a fluorescent pink, and I used to put that under my waterline thinking I look really cool and edgy. And then I've just got a palette with some like different colours in it, and it's got a few browns that are matte that are similar to what I used to use, and I would just put sort of a warm brown in my crease and sort of over the top of my lid to give my eyes a bit of dimension, and I would leave it there. And I might put a bit of a shimmery colour into the corner of my eye, maybe under my brow a little bit, but I wasn't that creative with it. It was hard times.
I would probably do my liquid liner on the top of my eye, which is just like Poundland eyeliner, standard. That's what I used to use. And then I'd also do my waterline.
Did you do a wing?
I did. My wings were never even.
No one's wings were ever even.
One was like halfway up my eye and the other one was halfway down my eye.
Would you do that thing where you'd start and they were even at one point, but then you just couldn't help but keep touching them up to the point where they were huge?
Yeah. They used to be like this thick.
You have to do that.
And then I just use a black eyeliner for my waterline.
Nothing special.
Nope.
Again, we cannot remember what we used to use. Actually, wait, I can remember what I used to use for my waterline. I used to use the same as what I used for my eyebrows, but I had a black one. And I remember I lost it and I was completely, utterly heartbroken because it was the best black eyeliner I have ever used. I would put it on once in the morning and it would last until the night. And I might have to reapply it during the day, but that would be it. And it was genuinely impressive. So the other next best thing is this Kryolan, just a standard black eyeliner, nothing special, but it does the job and it stays on for a reasonably good amount of time. Doesn't really let me down, doesn't bleed, doesn't... I think it's waterproof, I'm not too sure, doesn't say it on the packaging, so I can't guarantee, but it does the job.
I had to do my mascara next, and when I was in school I used to use 3 different mascaras, and they used to look like spider legs.
Oh god, yes.
It was terrible. So I'm just using Avon, Super Shock and True Colour. They're very good.
Avon is good.
Avon is pretty good.
I used to do the same as April. It was like a trend for a good, I think 5 or 6 years, from like 2006 to
It was painful.
to like 2015.
It was
I think there was just this thing where girls hadn't quite gotten to the stage where they discovered false eyelashes or weren't confident enough to use them, or they just weren't used commonly enough for everyone to use them. So the majority of us would just take whatever mascara we could find, and at the time I used a number 7 mascara which was in a red glittery bottle, and I was really proud of it because it looked really cool. But for now I'm going to use this cheap Sunkissed mascara which I've just got stashed in a drawer somewhere that I've never used, just for the sake of the fact that I know how much I'm going to have to use of this, and I don't want to use something that's expensive, that's going to go to waste. So it's disposable and it's being disposed of.
And finally, I had this really nice purple lipstick, or I thought it was nice at the time, and I couldn't find it. It was really cheap and nasty and really bad for my lips.
So
So
did you get that thing where it's like greasy and cracked?
yeah, and it made my lips really cracked. So I'm just using Too Faced Melted Metal in the colour.
I have no idea what
No
colour it is.
idea.
Give me a sec. Oh my god, I don't even know what colour this actually
It
is.
doesn't have the shade.
Well, basically, it's that pink. It's like a pinky purpley shade. You'll sort of, if you own it, you'll probably be able to tell what it is. But yeah, completely other end of the spectrum because this is the completely expensive version of the lipstick that April used to use.
Yeah.
So you're like glamming yourself up
I
here
am.
a little bit. But unfortunately, it's the only colour I had that matched it. I mean, I've got a few other purples, but they just weren't anything close to that colour. Because I mean, I've got a thing for the vampy purples. For my lips, I used to use... I was that girl that did concealer lips, but I didn't use concealer. I was adamant that I didn't use concealer. I thought I'm going to get that look, but I did not want to use concealer because I have like a problem with getting very cracked lips and I didn't want to make that any worse. So the lipstick I actually used was a Barry M, one of the original ones they had in like the matte black packaging. I don't know if they still do that or not. And it was called Marshmallow, and it was honestly the same shade as this eye primer. It was literally the palest skin tone that you could get. I don't even think it could be classed as nude because it wasn't even a nude, it was almost white. And I would cake that on throughout the day and I thought I looked great. I really did. I thought I was the utter bomb. But the closest thing I have now, like the palest nude I own, and I did use this at some points during my makeup ugly trend. So it is the Bourjois Rouge Edition Velvet in Cool Brown, and it's sort of like a matte, creamy, it's quite like, it's almost like puffed up, it's like a mousse. And it's really nice, and it's like a darker nude, definitely darker than what I used to use, but it's the closest shade I currently have, and I'm not going out to spend money on something that I don't need, I'm never going to use again. And I believe that's everything for mine. Yes, that everything for yours. We are going to try and keep this as close to the realistic thing as it was by using sort of minimal amount of brushes. If we used our hands to do our foundation, we are going to use our hands to do our foundation. I am not using moisturiser or primer, and I know that's going to completely mess up my skin, but it's worth it. Do it for the views.
Yep, do it for the views.
So, I would start with foundation, and I would use a brush very similar to this one, which was just like the standard flat foundation brush. Now, before anyone judges me, yes, my brushes are disgusting, but it's not necessarily a bad thing because they're my germs.
I wouldn't use a brush at all. I was that girl.
Oh, I'm gonna try.
I mean, obviously now I'd use a brush.
Look at the colour of that though. Like, yours isn't that bad.
No, mine's okay.
Kill me now.
My foundation now puts like so much on my hand.
Thing is though, I still got no eyebrows. My eyebrows are the one thing that hasn't changed about my face.
What did you do? I shaved my eyebrows.
Someone genuinely asked me that once. And because I've got like a little patch missing there from when I had chicken pox, literally like, I know, like ever since I was like 6 or 7 when I had chicken pox, I've always had this one spot that's been missing and it's never grown back, and whenever I fill my eyebrows in it takes me an extra 5 minutes just to get that bloody spot. So I used to really cake it on. So as you can see, really getting in there. Oh god.
This smells.
It's so cakey! Can I just point out one thing, which is that this is special effects, like makeup, so it's also designed for stage makeup and film and things, so it's designed for people to be able to wear it under bright lights and for it not to melt off, so to speak. So this stuff is like the concrete of the foundation world, and it will not come off, it will stay when you set it, but it is also very heavy, very cakey, and very, very thick, and if you break out, luckily I don't have skin that tends to break out or that tends to be too dry or too oily, but if you had oily skin or dry skin or you broke out, this would really ruin your day because it is honestly like the worst thing you can do for your skin, and I am now covering my face in it. We are all foundationed up. Look at that shameful type. Oh,
Pardon you.
pardon me. Look at that shameful tan line. I would call it a tan line, but it's not even a tan line to be fair. It's like a tide line. It's like the fucking shore is coming to the beach.
is high when I'm holding on.
Oh god, no. Not that far. So, next I have to cake more of this on my face. Again, my concealer is white, which is good actually. I'm really hoping it will slowly balance out. You good? Is that your gum?
Yes. I apologise.
That's staying in. I'm hoping this will balance out the terrible shade choice, but as far as I'm aware, I did not used to use much of this.
It's so thick.
And I'm about to put more on. Could this get much worse? I have to put powder on top of this as well.
Oh
And
no.
I can't bake it because I didn't know what
Okay,
baking was.
mine's orange, but it's not too bad.
And I've got to use the same brush because I used to use the same brush that I used for my foundation because I was a nasty ratchet.
Again, I use my fingers too.
You can honestly see though how much I used to use this, and I think at one point I used to just use this on my face. Like when I got to year 11, I would just put white foundation on my face, and honestly it did match, but I still got called a ghost. And when I had bleach blonde hair, I got called an albino. High school.
Oh, this makes my eyes water.
We did. Oh. Oh. Oh, you're looking tender. Right. We are all concealered up and ready to blend. And I used to use the latex wedge sponges that you can sort of get from Boots for about £3 or £4 for a couple of them. But I don't have any of them at the moment. And the only other sponge I do have is a bit more high quality, and I really want to make this as realistic as possible to how my makeup used to be. So I've sort of got this cheaper style sponge, and I'm not going to wet it, even though I do feel this sponge probably should be wet. It's going to be left completely dry, and I'm going to then attempt to blend out the world's cakiest foundation. What are you up to?
I'm just like rubbing my concealer. on
You
my-
still on your hands?
Yep.
Damn. Damn, that's an achievement. Right, so before we start again, I just want to prove that the colour of this foundation that I have to wear is honestly scandalous. Look at what it has done to this nice fresh sponge. It has gone the most disgusting shade of orange, and I hate it.
And it was a really nice minty colour before.
It was beautiful before, and now it looks like trash. Like me. And the worst part is, because at this stage in my life, I had no idea that if my foundation was the wrong colour, I should probably at least attempt to blend it into my jawline. I have this, and I can't blend it. No. Because I had a tide line, and I gotta keep the tide line.
Okay.
That was a good throw.
That was a pretty good throw.
Proud of that.
Throw. What?
So, next, I would take what little powder I currently have, and I would
My
very
face.
lightly dust it across my face, because I didn't want to be one of those girls that put too much powder on. But with the sort of foundation I'm wearing, I probably should have baked my face. But I had no clue what baking was, and at that time I think it was mostly still drag queens that sort of did it, and I don't think many people had really discovered the beauty of caking makeup on and being able to bake it and have it look good.
I know multiple terms of baking, but let's not get into that.
So I don't think I used any particular brush to do my powder. I would probably use a brush similar to this, which is just like a fluffy brush, and it's a Studio London brush. Nothing special like Sigma or MAC, because you don't need to spend 40 quid on a brush
No.
to look good. I honestly can stand by that. And I think it's shameful that some people really rely on spending that much money on a brush that you could probably go and get for 2 quid. Just my opinion. Just think it's slightly wasteful. But do you, boo? Oh god. Oh my god, that's just soaked up. Every single bit that's come off it. It's changed the colour of my brush. This foundation has come through the powder and has changed my brush to the nastiest orange.
Yum.
Wow!
I feel like we should get McDonald's breakfast tomorrow.
Oh.
Imagine if you got that on camera. Nobody wants to sign up for benefits.
Oh, and it is on camera now.
Yay!
No, I can edit it out, it's fine. I'm gonna watch this back later and be like, oh, this has got like the worst dispenser on it. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, this Natural Collection powder is actually pretty good. I think it's $1.99 like most of their other products. And it's genuinely impressive. Sorry. This video is a mess.
Honestly, you can just...
Hello to Katie editing.
Hey!
Feel like your self-hate is at a new peak now.
I
Watching
need-
confident you speaking to very depressed and tired you.
I'm reaching pan.
You hit pan. It's sad though because on this powder you won't be able to see it, and even if I held it up to the camera you wouldn't see it because it's been used. This powder has a really cool, like when it's pressed, it's got hashtags pressed into it, and it's actually quite cool. But once you've used it 4 or 5 times, they go, and it's genuinely depressing because they honestly, it goes from looking so good
It gives me life.
to just looking white and plain and boring. What was that?
I apologise.
Are you okay? Is there a baby goat trying to get out? Oh, I just sprayed on it. I've already oh no. Do you know when you can feel your brush like sticking to your foundation? That's what I used to think was like a good thing. I was like, oh yeah, that means that my foundation's like soaking up the powder. It's like, no, God no, oh, it's so tight, like, oh. It's so shiny. Can you like see that glaze? Highlight before highlight was highlight. I used to remember though, girls, I really never wanted to be one of those girls that properly caked it on in the bathroom and stood there in the girls' toilets
Oh god, that
with
was me.
the powder puff out of the bottom of their powder case and like rubbing it into the powder so that it literally like came off. Oh my god. So that it came off all over their hands and then they like properly packed it on. I really never wanted to be one of those girls.
That was me.
But I think I turned into one. Without realising, I just did the opposite. I just did a liquid foundation instead of powder.
Honestly, if I wore this today, I think I could pull it off.
You think you could go out in public like that?
I mean, I wouldn't go out in public, that's not what I'm saying.
I think our friendship's strong enough for me to say that you should not go out in public like this.
I think our friendship's strong enough for me to rely on you to tell me that I can't go out.
I think it would be a great video idea if we...
Going out in public like this.
Yeah. We at some point need to go somewhere like Birmingham and we need to just walk out in public.
We would get the shit ripped into us.
No, because I feel like everyone would just... I think it's pretty standard because, I mean, a lot of girls...
Be careful.
It's hard, I mean, no judgment, because I know sometimes people can't afford to get a new foundation that matches their skin tone, but sometimes I do notice that people have the wrong foundation. But, you know, each to their own. I mean, I just feel like no one would probably say anything, and I feel like unless we openly had something that was really, really bad on our faces, I mean, I'm sure they'd just think we were inexperienced and didn't know how to do our makeup.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'd just like be like, oh, bless, they don't know what they're doing, that sort of thing. She says, putting the smallest amount of powder on the thickest coating powder. Have I got a stutter today?
Jimmy.
My phone's just gone
We
on.
both just checked our phones.
No, go away. This is honestly. If I ever get into some form of... do you know that interview that Vogue does? You know, where they ask you like 30 questions. Get off your phone. Where they ask you like 30 questions about you and things like that. If they ever say what's the most embarrassing thing you've ever done, I'll probably says this. Because...
I'd say it was your first video.
No, I think that was pretty... You know what, I think I'm proud
Okay.
of my first video. Just because it was my first video and there's the proud achievement that I actually did a video.
So this would actually be number 1.
Yeah, this would be number 1.
Just because we're making ourselves look like idiots.
Wait, that's what the internet's for,
Wait.
though. That's what the internet was created for 40.
Okay, are we doing our eyebrows?
No, wait, what? Oh, yeah, we said eyebrow. It's so dark. I wouldn't even go this dark now. And my natural hair colour is nearly the same colour as this, and I wouldn't go this dark. Oh, I can't even tell. Look at that! Look at it!
Okay,
Oh.
this is a bit dark, but
Oh, this is gonna look so bad.
we'll go. Oh god.
If I put this on, if I'd been an intelligent young lady, and I'd done my eyebrows before...
Okay, my eyebrows weren't this dark, but we'll go with it for the sake of the video.
Yeah, see, I feel like my eyebrows are probably...
Look,
Oh my god.
I literally just coloured my eyebrows in.
Oh my god. Annoyingly though, all the photos I have on Facebook, I don't have any of my face where I actually did it.
Yeah, that's like me.
But I think that's because I subconsciously knew I didn't want to see myself like that.
To be fair, I think
Oh, it's terrible. I can't like...
I mostly wore makeup outside of school.
Yeah, see, I would... When I did wear makeup like this, a lot of the time I had exams on and mock exams, and I just never really was taking photos at that time. So it just never...
Look at my eyebrows.
Oh.
This is how I used to fill them in, like when I went to like family parties.
I've got a little cheeky tool that I used to use and I would never use again, and it is... I've got another eyebrow brush here, and it's just a spoolie off the end. And I would literally fill in my eyebrows quite cakily, so to speak, and then I would just brush them through like it made it okay. And a lot of the time it meant that my foundation would work with the brow colour to make it a little bit lighter and less
Oh, no.
harsh.
Do you know what we'd
You've got to leave it, you'd leave it anyway, wouldn't you? This is
Yeah.
probably like an improvement from what it used to be. Oh my god.
Honestly, I never let my mum put any pictures of me on Facebook when I did my eyebrows because I hated my eyebrows. And I never did them in school because I knew that I'd get the piss taken out of me because this is how I used to do them.
Oh.
Honestly, what is going on?
Well, you know what? Since my foundation's that wet, I can still actually use my foundation to slightly... this is what I used to do. My foundation would still be wet enough for me to carve my eyebrows out using what was left on my face. Not gonna lie, it's not the worst, but I never liked filling them in too much. But because I have short eyebrows anyway, they always look really stubby and bad.
What is this? So, I'm gonna create a new YouTube channel, so...
Oh yeah, she's doing a YouTube channel, inspired by the lovely me, and I feel like it's probably going to be the same videos, but from different perspectives.
Yeah. We will try to vary them, but also I will make our upload days different.
We'll say that, but
Potentially.
So, they're not... Eyebrows aren't twins. They're cousins. Very distant
They're
related.
third cousins.
Yes. They're like, not even blood related, but they're related through marriage.
I cannot even cope with this.
Right. That was well timed, can I just say? Congratulations, that was... I clapped and you burped. Can
Honestly, you
if
can
I
just...
clap again, will you burp?
No.
I would do my eye primer.
And I had to do my eyeshadow.
Oh, cheeky. Straight onto the foundation.
Yep.
Oh god, I hate myself.
So I'd use like kind of a darkish, not too dark.
The weird thing I've noticed though is that I feel like every girl in the UK and a lot of girls in America at this time had their makeup inspired by basically what looked like Geordie Shore.
Yes.
And it's kind of embarrassing.
This is literally how I'd have my eyeshadow.
No cream.
No. You're disappointed in me, I know.
I'm not, because I'm looking at myself and I'm feeling like I'm just as bad. I used to use my...
I also only look like this when I went on family outing.
Oh my god, that's even worse somehow. If I turned up like that to a family outing, I would have been hung, drawn and quartered.
Oh, no.
Next, I would contour. And as far as I'm aware, I would use what I use now actually to contour, which is just a slightly smaller fluffy brush. Because I have very defined cheekbones anyway. And I don't tend to find that I need anything that's too...
I'm gonna steal her cheekbones.
You can still my cheekbones.
I'm gonna blush next.
I feel like a lot of people want to All of my nice... Can we just appreciate how pigmented that is? If anyone ever decides to hate on Makeup Revolution, that is something that is worth buying.
Oh no.
Oh. Right, Pennywise.
I'm Pennywise today, Sinclair.
Right, next time on the blush.
Oh,
I've just broken it. Oh my god, I've actually just noticed my fixed it.
okay, I'm gonna do my eyeliner next. Right.
So I would normally use the same brush that I use for my contour to do my blush because I was basic AF. That's done. Now onto the eye makeup. So I would take a sort of a medium tan brown shade, if you can see the colour of this. It wasn't anything special, it was honestly just one of the lighter browns that I had, and it would give my eyes dimension, but nothing too harsh because at my school, if we wore makeup, obviously, it would be taken off. And we thought this wasn't already obvious enough. Right, oh wait, let's use the same brush to do this absolutely shocking pink under my waterline. And I did this thinking it was this cool, punky, bright pink thing that everyone noticed. And I would change it up sometimes, and I would do like a purple or maybe, I don't know, there were a couple of bright colours in the palette that I used to use. Oh yeah. Eyeliner next, black eyeliner. Alright. Anyone who uses foundation, mascara will know that at the end of your wand you get like a glob, like a cakey nug of mascara. And if you knew what you were doing when you were caking on your mascara, you would take that glob and you would straight up just get it all up in your lashes. I hate when this. I want to send myself to hell. If I don't already have the throne in hell, I want someone to reserve it for me now. I want someone to go on booking.com and reserve me the throne to hell.
Booking.com?
Just for this disgusting and utterly despicable makeup look. And last but not least, we have... God. Oh no. Oh. Oh god, no. It's so like... It's really sheer. And it's very close to my natural lip shade. And it just looked weird. In so many ways. Oh god. And I had no idea how to do my lips, so I'm gonna like rush this. Because I never did my lips properly. And it used to honestly take me like a good half an hour.
Throwback.
Throwback, and this is the finished look. And I'm going to lean in and give you a bit of a view how vile this was. She's April, I'm Katie, and this was the delightful throwback to what our makeup was in the old high school days. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, leave a comment below if you'd like to. And let me know how you felt about this video, and if you want to suggest the next video idea, I would be very appreciative. We've got some fun stuff coming up. She's starting a channel, and when she does, I will tag her in every video that I do involving her, and you can go check her side of it out. And yeah, see you in the next video.